All right. It looks like I'm live. Hi, guys. It is Tory Magoo, aka my real name's Tory Christman. Online on YouTube and TikTok, it's Tory Magoo44 in honor of my father. And tonight, one of the members of my site asked me to speak about parenting. So that is the topic for tonight. And I thought I typed it in, but it doesn't look like it shows up. So I'm sorry about that, but that's the way it is. And there's no one here yet anyway, so no one's going to miss anything until they come on in a little bit. And hopefully they will. Hey, there you go. Love it. Hi. Thank you for coming on. Hi, this, that, and the other. Hello. The topic tonight is parenting. Did it say that anywhere? Era 23? Did any of you see that title? Oh, yeah, it does. Parenting Tips by Tory Magoo44. Okay, good. That's right. Yeah. So we'll wait a couple minutes until a few more people come on. How's everything going with you guys? Hopefully well. I just watched a very odd movie. I can't even remember the name of it, and I wouldn't recommend it anyway. I didn't go to the theater. It was just over at a friend's. But it was interesting because the written, what they said it was going to be about was friendship. It ended up, like I said to my friend, if they had said this is about a friend trying to get along with someone with mental illness and how they both kind of work together, it would have been okay. But because they made it sound so wonderful and friends and loving and everything, it was like, no, you didn't get that one at all. So anyway, going okay, troubleshooting tech. There you go. Yeah, Mark Bunker helped me. Oh, for yourself. Okay. Yeah, Bunky helped me the other night because some other weird stuff happened afterwards. And so, hi, Sophie. I called Mark and he was wonderful. He really was. I really hope you guys go and subscribe to him if you haven't. He could use some encouragement. He could. Because he has fantastic content. You know, he has videos from years of interviewing people. And I said, just put them up. You know, people would like to hear the stories. And he feels like they have to be really snazzy and, you know, I think more than, hi, Sieglin. Welcome, all of you. I think he feels like it has to be a little bit better than it is. And thus it takes him a lot of time and energy to get one video up. So that's the way it is. We all have our problems and our adventures. But there you go. Anyway, I paid him. I gave him some money. I said, you've spent enough time with me. I need to pay you some money. So I did. He normally says no, but, you know, it was a good thing for both of us. So anyway, how is everything in New Zealand, Sophie? Link to Bunker's channel. Thank you. Thank you very much. He is a pro. I totally get it. He is. He's very professional. But you know what? You can be too professional, which is, I'm on the other side of that, where it's like my grandmother was like that. She was a perfectionist. And when we were around her, we were always uptight. My mother, thankfully, was into having it nice, having it comfortable, but having it enjoyable. And yeah, he is a badass. I know one. And he could use hearing that, though. Some of you guys, if you can, go over there and let him know that. Because he's a funny guy. He's very sensitive. But anyway, I've been kind of all my life not a perfectionist because I know, hi, JB808, hi. Feels like forever. I know. Great to see you too. It does feel like a really long time. Excuse me. And right in front of my face again, I still have this live 5:16, which is how many minutes, is right across my face. So I can't see anything unless I peek over here. Then I can see me if I'm over there. But the rest of it is all covered up. So I don't really need to see me anywhere. I just want to hear from you guys. So JB808, what's new with you? Fill us in. You've always got adventures. Sophie, I know. She's a good girl. Sensitive men are the best. I agree. Pardon me. This is one of those nights where my whole throat's really been going on crazy. Hey, Marysy Dotes, hi. Good to see you. We haven't seen you in a while either. It does feel like forever. It really does, isn't it? And what has it been? A couple weeks or maybe a month? It might have been a month. Just a lot of online schooling. Yeah, I need to do that. That's my next adventure, which I'm adamantly protesting. I'm going to have a little bit of one of my throat things. So how many people in here? Yeah, I'd like to take some classes too. How many people in here? Well, let me ask you first, JB808, where are you taking your classes? Hey, Maz, hi. Skibbity, hi. Moose on the loose, all right, hi. Good to see you. I'm not yet. Obviously, I need to take computer classes. That's the number one thing I want to take. And really learn, honestly, the basics of computers. I really don't. I'm really sorry. Yeah, I really don't know much about computers. Grizzbliz, hi. I've gotten where I am from all of you, from everyone helping me. That's it. And certainly Bunker, he's helped me a ton. But there's so much I don't know. A couple of my friends and I laugh all the time because we're like the Three Stooges. You know, we're going to help each other, and we don't know anything. We know a lot of stuff on things that we do. Hello? Hello? I'm waiting for someone to call me. I'm sorry to take that, but I was hoping it was this one person who's been out of touch with me for a while, and they've been out of town. And I just wanted to tell them I'll call them back. I've been good, except for coughing a little bit, you know, and of course it never happens all day or even at night until I turn on the computer, and then it starts. I don't know. Don't ask me why. But Bunker has the same thing. We're both kind of, I don't know what it is. I didn't used to have it, so it's sort of a new thing. And I'm still trying to get to an ear, nose, and throat doctor that'll really check it out. But I haven't been able to yet. They all have everything booked way in advance here in LA. It's amazing. And did I tell you guys about my heart doctor? I went before my colonoscopy. I went into, you have to have your heart checked. And so I walked in to get my heart checked, and the heart doctor, he's an old guy. And he looks at me and goes, "What are you doing here?" I had never had a doctor say that to me in my life. And I said, "I'm here to get my heart checked." And he said, "Oh, your heart's fine. We've checked it 4 or 5 times now. It's fine." It was really funny. Well, let him know that, JB808. You can go on Facebook and send him a Facebook message. Because I don't know that he's on YouTube that much. If it makes you feel better, I tell him that all the time, that people miss him. I do. I tell him that you guys love him and you miss him. And he's like, oh, they don't. And I said, they do. They really do. If it makes you feel better, I've had my laptop since February last year, and I didn't know it had a light behind the keyboard till the other day, and I'm 37. It does make me feel better. Thank you. Bless your heart. Hi, Smiley. That makes me smile. It's very frustrating. It is. Hey, Mark. Now, where did you just go? You just wrote something, and then it went away. Oh, got to get my midnight with Magoo. Hello. Hi. True. I hope it's nothing serious. I don't think it is. I've been coughing a lot. See, we're around these fires. You know, we had one in this. I'm right in the middle. We had Pacific Palisades and Altadena, and I'm right in the middle. So our air, this is what my doctors have told kind of everybody. A lot of people here are coughing. And it's just because we're naturally filtering that air. Do you see what I mean? It's like that. It isn't like it's gone away. And now we have more fires that have started. So it's like, it's difficult. It's tricky. And I'm 78, so that doesn't help. But what the hell? I'm still going until I'm not. That's the way I look at it. Smiley, that makes me feel better. I know it does. It's because you haven't talked and your vocal cords get stuff around them that need cleared first. Try this before you go live. Sing a loud song to clear your vocal cords. You know, I've thought of that because that does, I don't think that's it, because I was just with my friend and we were talking quite a bit. But I know what you mean. And it is one of those things where I thought, this is why, you know, like singers do all that warming up. And I finally got why. I think you're right. I'll try it more. Got to respect that wise beard man. I do. I really do. He's a wonderful person. And I'm going to get him to come on so you guys can tell him. Because he doesn't believe me. You know, I tell him, these guys really love you. And he's like, oh, you know, they're just saying that. They don't. Did you know Peter Manzel when you were in Scientology? Not by name, but I know a million people not by name. I know their faces, but what did he do? 49ers for life. You're welcome. Haha, my dad got it from me, and I kept holding my phone flashlight to see the keyboard. That makes me feel good. Thank you, Smiley. That is funny. Oh, that is a riot. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Oh, no, that's not good at all. No. You look amazing for 78. Thank you. Tea with honey? Yeah, that tea with honey would probably be good. I should do that. Sophie, you know, that's how the combination of that, and I gave, did any of you know Karen Black? She was an actress, and probably in your younger life. I think in the 70s and 80s, she was really popular, but she lost her voice. And she's the main celebrity in Nashville. And she had to go to Nashville the next day, and she lost her voice. So Yvonne Jentz at Celebrity Center, who started Celebrity Center, called me in and she said, look, can you go give her a touch assist? She really needs help. And I said, sure. And if you don't know, touch assists in Scientology, it's just like a little assist. They usually take 10 to 20 minutes. And it's like, okay, this is the assist. Feel my finger. Thank you. They go, yes. And you go, okay, feel my finger. They go, yes. You go, thank you. You know, feel my finger. Thank you. And you kind of go back and forth all around the body, up and down the body, front, and then roll over, do the back. It's usually 10 or 20 minutes. And the person says, oh, I feel better. That's it. But Karen, and I wasn't OT3, so I didn't know what OT3 existed or, what was on it. And I would go like this, feel my finger. And I am not exaggerating. 20 minutes later, she'd go, okay. And I think, what is this woman doing? I wanted to ask her, but I didn't. So then I go, feel my finger. Again, 10, 15, 20 minutes. She'd go, okay. I said, thank you. And I just kept doing it. I did it it was about 2 hours. It was a long, long touch assist. But all of a sudden, her voice came back. And she, for the rest of the time that I knew her, wherever we were in LA, if she saw me, she could be blocks away and she'd be like, Tory, come here. You got to meet my friends. And she'd tell them all about how I was the reason she got Nashville. Not that she got Nashville, but she was able to do Nashville because I helped her get her voice back. But it was really kind of her pitching Scientology. It was very, very sweet. But anyway, I grew up with computers, so I felt stupid. Wow. Well, if you grew up with them, that's kind of good. JB808, Sophie, I just need to evolve with technology, but I don't really have the natural passion to learn. I'm kind of the same, JB808. I'm exactly the same. I need to, and I need to evolve, and I just don't really have the passion. It's not my thing. So, but I'm going to try to just sign up for it and do it. I think if we just start, you'll get into it. No one, yeah. I mean, the air in LA isn't the best, and add to it the fires, yeah. And now we've got more fires here. We need to bring back the Anon protests. Yeah, that would be great. It really would. Sounds familiar, but not sure. What sounds familiar, but you're not sure? No one. Fix the DNs thanks to a web search. I don't know what the DNs are. Sophie, smileys. Hey, if you don't know, you don't know until you know. You're welcome. I was like, why can't I see my keyboard? That is really, I love that story. Honey clears out the sinuses. Okay, good to know. Ginger, lemon, and honey. Okay, let me write it down. Just a second, because ginger is something I'll forget. The lemon and honey I know. Lemon, honey, and tea, but you're saying ginger. Okay. And ginger is a root, right? So you just put it in it. So my tech issue is finally self-solved, but I still wish it wasn't an issue. Okay, I feel the same. I think everybody does. Dawn Lambert. Hi, Tory. Hi, Dawn. Thanks for coming by. I hear her kid because he played with a friend of mine's kid, but didn't get to meet her. Okay. I'm not sure who you're talking about. No one. Dawn Lambert. Hi there, my friend. JB808. I have so much respect for all the time and dedication you and Bunky put into the movement. Because of that, you're both faves. Irreplaceable. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we put in our time, that's for sure. 49ers for life. Peter Munsell is a big OSA guy that went after Rinder and other activists. He still does OSA dirty tricks. Now, I didn't know any of the, remember, I didn't work for OSA. I worked for my auditor. He was the one who got me to open those phony accounts, but that's mainly what I did with OSA and helped go out and try to handle the critics. But I really didn't do like any of that stuff. And I didn't even know it really existed. I stood up in court and said, that's not true. They don't do it. This is based on lies. I really, really was brainwashed. I really did not think they did the stuff that the critics said they did. And I stood up against Margaret Singer in court. I don't know if you know her, but she's an author and very well respected person. And she was talking about disconnection. And I said, oh, that was canceled. I stood up and I said, Your Honor, I've got to say something. That was canceled. That's not true. And of course, she had a heart attack. Not really, but anyway, now I would have said something very different. But then I really didn't, Hubbard did write a cancellation. Jesse Prince showed me after I got out at the bottom. He said, if you look real carefully in the little tiny print, it said this cancellation does not apply to SPs. And SPs are the only people that fair game would happen with, in disconnection. It would only be with SPs. Oh my God, Tory, that's awful. Which thing? What thing is awful? I don't remember what we were talking about that you're saying is awful. You got to let me know, because otherwise there's too many things that go on, and then it's like, what's awful? So if you say that's, put in parentheses, whatever it was, awful. And then I'll know. Smiley. There's this guy online named Nisa Powers, and he is detransitioning. He documents his experience on Instagram of becoming a Christian, and he talks about his journey. In one video, he throws away his Scientology books. All right, good. Awful that the response took 20 minutes. Well, not really. She got her voice back. It's like it really wasn't awful. Who cares if you can't talk and you're going to go do the biggest movie that changed her career for the rest of her life? So it was a huge movie for her. And if she hadn't spent the 20, most people wouldn't have done what I did, because it was very quote unquote out-tact. You know what I mean? That isn't really the way it happens, but you're not supposed to evaluate for the PC. And I figured, all right, if she takes 20 minutes, she takes 20 minutes. I had no idea what she was doing, but you could tell she did. She knew what she was doing. And it was like, whatever you're doing, girl, I hope it works. And when it did, it was like, wow, it was fabulous for both of us. We were really happy. So it wasn't horrible. He's like, I thought I was smart. I can't believe I fell for this garbage. Oh, okay. Smiley, is he detransitioning from Scientology or from radical gender ideology? Good question. Hi, Moon and Stars. Hello, welcome to the chat. Everyone is well that I know of. Sophie can be, wait. Sophie, to be fair, my old laptop was from like 2011. I hear you, Smiley. It is weird because I almost took this laptop back because I was telling Bunker, I said, it's just so complicated. I can't do it. And then I told my friend that, who also is in the same boat I am, knowing nothing about computers, but she has a huge business and does a lot on her computer. And she said, it's not going to be any better. They don't have the kindergarten version anymore. We both want the kindergarten version of computers, and it's gone. It's like all this new fancy stuff. There's so much stuff. Sorry, the name Peter Mansell sounded familiar. I'm so fragmented. That's okay. Oh, I see. Oh, so you were talking about him. Sophie, hello, love. How are you, Moon and Stars? How have you been? Yes, Tory, fresh ginger, grated, and lemon and honey. Okay, so I'll have to get some ginger. And do you get ginger at just a regular grocery store or like Trader Joe's, or what do you think? Sorry, I never cook, so I don't know. Hey, Moon and Stars. Karen Black is who I was talking about. I knew her young son. Ah, nice. Nice, no one. JB808, hello. I know we're always happy to see both of you. Everybody. Smiley S. Sophie, he is transitioning from being a woman for a decade. Wow. So he's transitioning from being a woman. So he was a woman and now he's becoming a man. That happened to one of our friends online. I'm just going to stop commenting until I can think out proper comments. Just think in a whole sentence, just think in terms of a comment, because it's sort of like you might say, yesterday I baked, and then you post it, and then 10 things are talked about in between, and then you say a cake, and it's like, okay, a cake what? Whereas you have to think back, what was I talking about, and just retype it and put, yesterday I baked a cake. See? And then there you go. It's simple. Keeps it easy for everybody, really. Smiley, oh, okay, how interesting. I've followed many of the detransitioners, and it's heartbreaking, their stories. Yeah, they can be. Do you remember Freedom Magazine? Sure. Working on a little project concerning the Scientology's involvement in exposing Interpol. Ah, yeah, Robert Van Young used to be an author for Freedom, and he was a guy who called me every night after I escaped out. Wonderful man. Ended up dying of cancer, but he did make a whole website for men about prostate cancer. So anyway, Christy. Are all people SPs that aren't in Scientology? No. All people who aren't in Scientology are WOGs. That's what they call them, which Hubbard said was wise old gentlemen. It turns out people from Africa know that it was a racist term. We didn't. But I never liked it anyway because Scientologists use it that way. They go, oh, he's just a WOG. And it's really tacky. It is. I never liked it. Christy, are all people SPs that aren't in Scientology, or just people that speak out? People that speak out against Scientology, Hubbard, David Miscavige, or any of their front groups are declared suppressive. And no one is allowed to talk to them. That was Hubbard's way of controlling the masses so that, the other people couldn't find out. And it worked pretty well for a long time until the internet. It really did. Margaret Singer was a proponent of eugenics. Okay. Hit that thumbs up. Thank you, Spoon and Stars. I don't know what eugenics is, so I apologize for that. One is Dawn. You'll have to let me know what eugenics. I know I've heard the word, but I don't remember what it is. You should check him out. I just looked. I guess it's Nisa Powers. Oh, for Sophie. Dawn. Yes, she was. Her views are very disturbing. Okay. I've yet to see Nashville, only clips, but it's apparently one of the greatest movies of all times, thanks to Tory such a sis. I wouldn't exactly say that, but she's in it because of it. That's for sure. I mean, it was a big win for her. She was really happy with it and never let anybody forget it. It was really funny. Laptops are crazy sophisticated now. My laptop is called a yoga, and I can bend it all the way in half. Really? Are you teasing or you're serious? That's amazing, Smiley, if that's true. Wow. Moon and Stars, I'm doing great. I'm not 6 feet under. I know that's what I always tell people. Remember, we're above ground. You can get ginger in most stores. Okay, good to know. Thank you, no one. Sieglin can get fresh ginger at most produce departments and grocery stores. They just grate it. Okay, good. All right. Smiley, I also use a 2011 laptop. There you go. I remember, I forget, one of the old ones with Windows. And then they said, you have to upgrade. And all of us we heard from the other computer guys, they said, don't do it. It's really awful. And so we kept protesting and protesting. And finally, they just said, that's it. We're not going to give you any upgrades. You have no security. That's it. You either upgrade or. And then one day I woke up and it was just there. It was on my computer. It was like, too late. We're upgrading you. Okay, Smiley, I'll check them out. Cool. Eugenics. I know the name. I just don't know what it is. Okay, eugenics is a scientifically erroneous and unethical theory that advocates for improving the human species through selective breeding. Really? I don't know if that's what she's known for, but it may be one thing she was for, but I don't think that's. I've heard a lot of people talk about her, but not about that. Wow, interesting. Erica H. Eugenics is a belief that some people are better genetically than others, and that the best, strongest, should be the ones to procreate. I don't think that she's for that. I don't. Maybe you'd have to give me some kind of article on it by her, because she was very much against all of Scientology's crap. I mean, that is disturbing. Okay, and then Smiley asks, Era 23, does it work well? Genetically, not generically. Okay. You mentioned WOG. Mike Rinder wrote an article in 2017 called Words Hurt. He talks about that. Yeah. Yeah, it was icky. It really was. I didn't like it. And I loved one guy. He came in, he said, I'm a finance guy, and I'm not going to call people WOGs. He said, my name for him is pre-Scientologist, which is still sort of creepy also, because it's like, they're automatically assumed they're going to be in Scientology. But it was a little better than WOG in that it wasn't as racist. Yes, I'm serious. It bends backwards. It's a Levano laptop at a yoga. Wow, that's amazing. I don't know if it's good, but it's amazing. His videos are great. Okay, good. Might be slightly slower, but not too slow. A 2016 Asus machine was painfully slow. Oh, okay. Hi, Antics of a Mama Squirrel. Welcome. Thank you for coming by. Eugenics is about improving the human race, but it's used to say some people are not worth. Yeah, no, I get it. I don't think that is what she was for, but maybe she was. But I can't speak for her. She's not here. Antics of a Mama Squirrel, thank you for all your hearts. And Sophie, your explanation is great. Okay. Thanks, Sophie, Erica says. And IAS Raz says, do you like dogs? I know. I asked the hard-hitting questions. I do. I love dogs. That's why I love going and sitting and talking to the neighbors, because I can't have a dog here. I'm renting and they don't want dogs. So I don't have a dog. I've always had cats, but now I can't even have a cat because I believe cats should be able to go in and out. And mine lived very long, to be like 25 years old, because I believe they had the availability to go in and out, the freedom. And so they were happy cats. They really were. But the vet said, no, that's over. There's too many coyotes here in Burbank, and they're eating the cats. And so, no. I mean, the other night I was coming home and I came around the corner and there was a pack of them, coyotes. And it was really freaky to see, like 4 or 5 of them. It was like, cats. They were out skunking for cats. I thought, oh, thank God I don't have any outdoor cats. According to Google, you never see cats around here though anymore. No one lets them out. According to Google, Margaret Singer is the wonderful cult researcher who helped many and wrote great books. Yeah, I think that's what I've always heard. I mean, I didn't when I was in, of course, because everybody hated her, but once I got out, that's what I heard. Margaret Singer, who started Planned Parenthood, really? Wow, she was incredibly racist and sterilized many Black women without her consent. Now, that's Margaret Sanger. This is Margaret Singer. Are we talking about the same person, Sophie? Because this is Singer. Moon and stars, don't they also say raw meat? They do. For people outside the door and bodies in the shop, they do. For those that came inside. And am I remembering? No, that's correct. They say raw meat, which is like brand new people. And they'll, in a meeting, they'll say, look, we got to get some more raw meat in here. There's just, because what happens is the FSMs, which are field staff members who basically used to help bring people into the orgs, after a while, they realized, wait a minute, Scientology is like a triangle and all the money is at the top. So they were like, why get these new people in? You make $5 on a commission, whereas up at the top, you make thousands. So they just kind of dumped the lower bridge. And anyway, so it was it's more difficult for them to get new people in. And of course, because of the internet now, it's really difficult, which is thankfully people get educated. And bodies in the shop is just people, just exactly what it says. And my husband did a thing at Celebrity Center. They basically have a restaurant there. And he used to work in a really fancy restaurant with celebrities and stuff like that. And so they asked him to come over and help them because they wanted to be a 5-star restaurant and help them. What do they need to change? And he said, well, first of all, 5-star restaurants don't have children running inside and out of the restaurant. So that's number one. Number two, if you need a menu that the people around here that are going to come in can afford. And the people around Celebrity Center at the time and still are basically students. So they're on a student income. They can't afford big, $20 lunches, or, well, not 20 now, but, back then it would be like $50 lunches for one person, for just the entree. And it was just too much. So he said, you need to, figure out a menu that they can afford. And then the third one is basically get bodies in the shop. He said, because people will look in a restaurant, and if there's a lot of people there, they think there must be something good happening in there. But if there's nobody there, they think, let's keep going. Let's not go here. So anyway, those are his tips. But that reminded me of that when you said that. Margaret Sanger was the eugenist, and they mixed up, but are two different people. Yeah, so Margaret Singer is the person I'm talking about who is against cults and wrote about cults. I'm looking for a laptop. If anyone has a recommendation, do not ask me. And really do research on it because it's tricky. They're really different now. Sophie, you're correct. She also put a lot of Planned Parenthood clinics in minority neighborhoods, but that isn't Margaret Singer. That's not the same person. I think Margaret Sanger, and I'll have to look it up afterwards, but for what you're saying, they're two different people. Yeah, that's what Sophie said. Okay. That's correct, Moon. Okay. So I love dogs too. I know, I really do. It's really fun to meet a lot of the neighborhood dogs over around Scientology when we protest. I recommend Margaret Singer's books on cults. Yeah, I do too, Erica. No one. I love my Levano. Is that how you say it? Levano yoga? Wow. And that's your laptop. Thanks, Smiley. They're eating the cats. I know. Well, that's honestly, that's what that's also what my vet said. That's the truth, is that they bring in cats that are like all gnawed up and everything. And he said, you don't want that. And I said, no, I don't. I really don't. It's too painful. You're very welcome. I'm using it to do school. All right. Cool. I thought Tory said a different last name than Sanger. I did. I said Singer, Singer. That's her name, Margaret Singer. And it is different. She's an author, and she's very against cults. And I think she's also, she's very highly educated in the area. I was just scrolling on TikTok, and I saw a video there. These girls were asking Shannon if they could buy her a cake pop from Starbucks, but she declined. It's weird how they've made her a celebrity. It's very weird. And it's very weird how, she can't say, yeah, bring one over. I heard Sanger. Okay. Well, I think we've corrected it now. One thing about cats is they wreak havoc on the bird populations. Yeah. And local ecosystems. They kill billions of birds a year. Another reason why a lot of people are keeping their cats indoors. Good. It's a common mix-up. Okay, thank you, Erica. And Siegel, it's amazing how fast cats are. It's true. I mean, try to catch a bird yourself. Not trying to derail here. No, it's true. I remember I have kind of a pointed roof right next to where I drive in my driveway, and I was sitting in my car listening to the radio, and all of a sudden I heard thud, and it really scared me. And it was my cat, Elvis, back when he was alive. He jumped off the roof onto mine. It really scared me. Will the real Margaret please stand up? Sorry, just being goofy. That's fine, Moon and Stars. We can always use a little bit of goofiness here. Why are all the same pages about the right Margaret Singer? Why are all on the same page? Oh, okay, we are all on the same page about the right Margaret Singer. Yes, we are. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the topic, Moon and Stars, and we haven't mentioned Margaret Mead. That's a whole other can of worms. And thank you, I'm going to stay out of that one. Okay, I'm adopting a cat soon. Ooh, nice, Erica. Hi there, Moon and Stars. And hey, Dawn. I want a koala. They're the best. Okay, so here's my parenting tips. I'm going to keep it very short, I think. Basically, I was born in Kansas City, Missouri. And then my parents moved to Chicago, and I grew up in a suburb called Park Ridge, Illinois, which is northwest of Chicago, of downtown Chicago. Beautiful suburb, really pretty, really wonderful, happy, joyous to this day. It's just a really lovely place to grow up. So I had a great beginning of my life. And I probably would have never been in a cult, except my parents decided. My father was a football player for the Chicago Cardinals and the Football Hall of Fame. and then got asked to help broadcast football games with Kurt Gowdy, who was a big celebrity. Hi, Lauren. And so then he started making a lot more money. And so my parents decided to move up to Lake Forest and build their dream house. Now, my oldest brother was going to college, so that wasn't going to affect him. My younger older brother, who's only a year older than I am, was going to be 1 year, and then he was off to college. So I was the main person affected by it, and I was dramatically affected by it. And I say to every parent, if your kid is a sophomore in high school or above, do not move, because you've made all your friends, you've spent all your life. I read that they're moving the future Chicago Bears stadium to Arlington Heights, where the old racetrack used to be. Ooh, sweet. I didn't know that. Well, anyway, so now they move up to Lake Forest. I lose all my friends. From there, I turn into an absolute maniac, and I'll admit it. I mean, I just was a total maniac. I was protesting. I was upset. I was sneaking out with guys, riding motorcycles, you name it. You name anything that you wish that your daughter would never do, I was there doing it. That's why Jessica always says, I'm going to be like Tory when I get older. And I say, and I was exactly like her, because she does stuff that I just go, I would die if my daughter was doing that. But, that's the way I was. I was the same way. So anyway, long story short, now we're in Lake Forest. I go to college, or they send me away to a boarding school for high school, hoping that that'll get me better, which it doesn't. And then I graduate from high school. I go and do a little bit of college, quit college, move to New York City. I'm in New York with my roommate, and we both decide, we hear about the Summer of Love in San Francisco, and where you can be a hippie. And we decide, let's go join the hippies. That sounds like fun. And I'm really glad I did. We had so much fun. Well, she didn't. She left and went back to New York, but I stayed and I had a blast. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was just one of the highlights of my life. It truly was. So anyway, but had they not moved to Lake Forest, I probably would have stayed in Park Ridge, married a doctor or a dentist or some professional businessman, and become, just one of those housewives, and just been it would have been a whole different world for me. And I don't regret it. I love my life, but it just would have been different. Do you see what I mean? It just shows how, if you can take this path or that path, you got to really think about how is this path going to affect everybody? How is this path going to affect everybody? So anyway, as far as parenting, that was number one mistake from my parents. Number one great thing they did was make sure that we all had a good time. Of course. Dawn said, did you smoke pot? I'm like, of course. I did everything. You name it, except for cocaine. I didn't do cocaine. But I did, you name it, LSD, speed, downers. I did everything, but only a little bit. I was like a social druggie, where wherever I was, if somebody said, try this, I'd try it. And most of it, I wasn't really into it, except for grass. The old grass I really liked. Who put me on a timeout for 3 minutes? Whatever I did, I'm sorry. Not me, Moon and Stars, and I'm sure not Love it. None of us did. If it happened, it was probably for an accident, but I apologize, because you shouldn't have been. And I'm sorry, but I know I didn't, because I don't know how to do that. But I doubt if they did either. Hey, I'm late. Hey, Tory. Hey, cool. Hey, chat. Hi, I am who you say I am. Thank you. It might have been a misclick era, 23, because Moon and Stars, we would never put you on a timeout, really. So thank you for coming back and letting us know, though. So to finish this, so now I'm a hippie. I go back to college. I'm in college, and these kids from high school, academics say people don't join cults. Cults find you. And that's exactly what happened. These two kids from high school came in, and they were real nice to me. And a lot of these kids in Lake Forest, lot of the people in Lake Forest, I felt, were very snotty, very wealthy. My parents had a lot of money, but they weren't snotty, and neither was Park Ridge. Park Ridge is very friendly, very welcoming, very, very inclusive. Park Ridge, Lake Forest was very exclusive. It's like, no, you're not good enough for this table, kind of thing. And it was just like, ugh. So I was on a massive protest against that. So now these kids bring in the Dianetics book and they say, you can keep it. You can have it. And I said, really? Because it was like a hardback Dianetics book. And they said, yeah, keep it. And so I said, okay. And so I read only 3 chapters in it, believe it or not. And I had an argument with my dad, and he said, okay, go to bed. And I love my dad. He was a great dad. He really was. But when it came to going to bed, he was funny that way. And he wanted me to go to bed early. And I have always been a night owl, thanks to my grandfather. So I said, Dad, I'm in college. I'm not going to bed now. It's only 10:30. And he said, it's our morals or no school. You go to bed now. So I hung up on him and I wrote in lipstick on my mirror, your morals or no school, screw you. And I packed my bags, 1 bag, and I hitchhiked from Chicago to Los Angeles. Because in the back of the Dianetics book, it says, if you want more information, you can go to St. Hill, England, which I couldn't afford, or American St. Hill in Los Angeles. No, I didn't meet Charles Manson, thankfully, because I could have easily been one of the Manson girls. Tory, it must have been amazing. No, wait, I lost your thing. What happened? Tory, it must have been amazing in San Francisco at that time. It's really legendary, and you were there. Yeah, it was. It was truly fantastic. That's why I'm saying I have no regrets on that. JB808, eyes on the Bears at this point. Brilliant offensive coach, Ben Johnson. Okay, so those guys are going to talk football, and I'm not going to. I want to finish this. Did you do melatonin? The hard stuff? No, I didn't. I use melatonin to go to sleep sometimes, but it's not hard. It's not a hard drug. So anyway, no, I didn't. I don't know what the hard stuff is for melatonin. I never even heard of that before when I was in Haight-Ashbury. I never heard of melatonin. Okay, so now I get into the cult. You know my story on that. And then I get married in 1974, and we give birth to my son in 1977. And I am thrilled. I mean, first of all, being a parent is a wonderful experience. It really is. And I highly recommend it. So I give birth to my son. And soon after that, my mother had said, you guys need to move to Florida because it's really jumping here in real estate. I think your husband would do really well in this area. So we do. We sell everything and we move there. We pack up and we move to down where she lived about 2 hours south of Clearwater. And she was a bit of a control freak. And she was every day like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to go here, we're going to do that. Do this with Justin, don't do that. And I was just like, get me out of here. I don't care where we go. Get me out of here. I can't live with this person. It's not going to work. And so we move up to next to Tampa. It's called Brandon. And now apparently it's a really jumping area. At the time, it was just a kind of a little brand new housing development and orchards all around it. Melatonin isn't a hardcore drug. You can buy it over the counter. Yeah, that's what I thought. So I'm not sure why you're putting that in with drugs. But anyway, this isn't about drugs. This is about parenting. And I want to stick with parenting. So, okay, so now we're in Florida. We buy a house in Brandon. And I start raising my son. And I love being a mother and I love being with him. And there's that. So there's that phase of it. I realized we finally moved near Clearwater, which was right. We were in Largo, which is right next to Clearwater, and they're super. They were then. They were super racist and using the N word and just awful things. And I said, I don't want our child to grow up around this kind of stuff. I just don't. And he wasn't doing that well in the real estate thing. So we moved back we ended up, one Thanksgiving because he couldn't see it. I was out on the street, helping Scientology handle these guys, which I've told you about. But I was joking about melatonin. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So we move back. We get trapped, and these rednecks go, oh, California, what do you know? Anyway, long story short, we moved back to Los Angeles. And now I'm helping some kids in a school that are like 1 to 2.5 years old. I think one of them was Danny Masterson, but my son was there and some of his friends. And one of the mothers hears about this thing called the Doman technology, how you can increase your baby's intelligence. So we listened to the tapes about it. It's totally out tech with Scientology to do something like this, but we didn't care. We were mothers and we wanted to help our kids. And this guy had fabulous stories. So we flew to Philadelphia because there it's called the Institute for the Achievement of Human Potential. And Dr. Glenn Doman helped teach us a whole lot of stuff. How to teach your children how to read, how to do a foreign language, how to learn bits of intelligence. That's what he called the single bits of intelligence. It was just a fabulous program. I mean, my son by 2, I think, knew every single president and information about him. By 3, he was running like 2 miles and learning the violin, and learning a foreign language. So it was just, it was a fantastic time. And what did I think about being a parent in Scientology versus out? Well, I never really liked the Scientology side of kids. I went and saw them teaching them TRs, which are their training routines. And the guy who was teaching it, he was wrong. He was just wrong. It was just bad. And the kids didn't know it. And I just thought, no, I'm not going to have my kid do that. So I did put him in Scientology schools, which I regret because public school, I think, is way better. But I was a Scientologist, so I put him in Scientology schools. But I did move him around. As things got bad somewhere, we went to a different school. So the Doman book seems good, teaching nature. It's really good. I mean, it's fantastic. How to Increase Your Baby's Intelligence by Dr. Glenn Doman. And the other thing I taught him that really helped him a lot was it's part of the Doman program, and it's called the Civil Code. And it's a thing they taught. He originally only worked with brain injured children and their parents. And then once he realized, wait a minute, I can bring these children that doctors have all said, forget it, they're going to be toast. And he said, I can bring them up to normal and often genius category. So what about well kids? So that's when he started the Better Baby Week. And we flew there and he said, I'm going to teach you the same stuff I teach the brain injured parents about their kids. Not that your kids are brain injured, but it's the same information applies to all children and babies, especially. And number 1 is leave them on the floor. It's one of the biggest mistakes, he said, and he's right, that parents do is they try to get their kids up walking when they really need to keep creeping and crawling. That's what he calls it. Creeping is like an alligator and crawling is up on all fours. But both of those actions develop pathways in the brain, and they're stronger pathways. They're really important. So they're so important that he said a lot of the brain injured parents put padding all around the room because we videotape the babies in cribs, and they always start out on one side, and by the end, they're all the way over on the other side, just stuck at the end of the crib, right? So he said, if you put pillows or, some kind of covering so that the walls are safe, and you have rugs on the floor, just let them put them in that room, and they'll creep and crawl all night long. They just and they filmed them and they showed us, and it's just amazing. I mean, it's just sort of like they're just cruising around, building these pathways in their brains, which of course they don't know it, that's what they're doing. But our kids were so smart. I mean, it was just incredible. It was really Philip, Liz Gale, her brother Philip Gale, helped start Earthlink, and her mother did Doman also. Yeah, I've seen people who just get the babies walking and don't let them crawl. It's not only bad for their brain development, but they get bow legs as well. Exactly. It's really not a smart idea, but it's amazing because of peer pressure, how people get. They want their kid to walk, be the first one to walk. Why not have him be the first one to read? It's like we had so much fun teaching him. So I taught him for 5 years at home. And this one lady would always write knowledge reports on me saying, Tory's doing this squirrel activity. And they'd call me into ethics, and I'd say, look, I've never even met this lady. I don't even know who she is. She's never been to my house. She doesn't know what I'm doing. So no, I'm not going to even answer the KR, which is a knowledge report saying all your bad things that you did, and you're supposed to answer it. And I said, no, I'm not going to even answer it because it's offensive to me that she's writing up stuff about me when she doesn't even know me. And she doesn't even know my son, and she doesn't know what we're doing. So anyway, she was the only one that wrote us up because most of us were doing it. A lot of the mothers were into doing it. It was really fun. We all built, what monkey bars are, that you have in the park. Well, we all built monkey bars outside of our house or inside of our house. And then the kids would come over, and they just were like monkeys. They could just like go and go and go. I mean, it was just incredible, all the activities. So anyway, that was a big part of his early childhood rearing was that. And I really recommend either, if you're not going to do that, read books and learn, because most of us don't know anything about parenting. You know what I mean? I certainly didn't. I knew what my parents did, and I thought that was good because I had a good childhood, but I still didn't really know certain things. And this Doman thing was fabulous for us. But the civil code, that's right, I didn't finish teaching you that. So you figure out, okay, what are the main things that you want to work on? Like, picking up your toys in your room. When I say to come, you come. Saying please and thank you. Whatever. You figure out what your rules are for your home. But like 4 or 5 things. And then we used to carry a little bag with chips in it. And if they do what they're supposed to do, they get a chip. And if they don't, we take a chip back. And at the end of the day, you add up all the chips, and depending on how many chips they have, they either get a reward or not. And like Glenn said, which it's Dr. Glenn Doman, he said, don't give them stuff, not toys and stuff. Make the reward something like you can read, Dad will read with you for half an hour. Or, just different things that are activities that you'll do with them. So that was really cool. And we loved it. We had a lot of fun with that. And another thing I did with my son was use the stopwatch. And I would say, okay, yesterday your time was to clean up the room. So do you think you can beat your time? And he'd go, yeah, I do. And I'd say, okay, ready, go. And he'd zip around and clean up everything. And I'd press it. I'd say, okay, you beat your time. So then I'd give him a chip, So anyway, it's just a fun way to reward kids. And then if they're creepy, you take something away from them, but it's not like you're hitting them or anything like that. And the other thing I used was timeouts, which is just if he was really being creepy, it was just like, all right, take a timeout, go in your room for 15 minutes, whatever. He knew pretty much our drill, but he's a really good kid because of it. All the kids that I know that did the Doman program, they're all drug free and they're super nice and they're smart as shit. It's amazing. So anyway, that was my, way more than Scientology, I would say do the Doman program if you have a younger baby, up to like, I think 5. I don't know. I think he blended it even longer, but anyway, I would say get the book, read the book. The other thing that I love that another mother taught me is, how she said, how you feel pretty overwhelmed with all this stuff you have to do in a day. And I said, yeah, it's a lot. She said, okay, so take a piece of paper and depending on how many people are in the family, fold the papers, right? So let's say we just had a mother, father, and a son. So the mother writes out all the things that she does for the family, which is usually like the mother, and then the father, he does some, and then the kid is just like 2 or 3 things, right? So you divide it up. You say, okay, look, we need to sort this out so that basically more of the things that the mom is doing, everybody works on. So, the dad takes some, the kids take some, and it spreads out. And it's amazing. It really helps. It really does. The other thing, I mean, now it happens all the time because we just naturally film each other. When I was a kid, my mom would film us all the time, and it wasn't a natural thing. We didn't have cell phones, but she was out there with her little camera and she would take pictures of us. And at first we were like, no, don't take a picture of me. And she'd say, look, just get over it. She was a model, so she was used to being filmed. And she said, just get over it. We're going to sit down and watch it every Sunday night. So just get over it. And so you do, you just kind of get over it. It's like, okay, whatever. And it's fun to see the family videos on Sunday night. I don't know if you could still do that with the way things are. I don't know how that is, but it was fun. It really was. And so for me, love, I think, is the number one thing for parenting. If you really love your family and love each other, that's the best thing. That's the very, very best thing. And education, and make sure that they're educated so that they get a good education, not a Scientology education. I wouldn't say that. But anyway, there you go. So, does anybody have any questions for me? Damn, if Elrich was still alive, he would have loved to plagiarize this material. Yeah, no shit. I know. That's true. That was it. 8mm camera for sure. Yep, exactly. I think it was a little brownie camera. Remember those brownie cameras? So it was fun though. It really was. I loved my childhood. It was wonderful. And my teenage years, Nightmare on Elm Street. But I got through it. But it was tricky for all of us. It really was. But I don't regret it because it got me here. And I wouldn't have been here if I'd gone the other way. So it's good. That's why the kids a lot of times on TikTok go, God, how awful you were in Scientology for 30 years. And I go, not really. 20 of the 30 years were pretty good. They were mostly pretty happy. And the last 10, I needed them to be horrible because it let me see the dark side of Scientology, and it's how I got out. I wouldn't have got out if it was all great. My dad used to do videos of the kids playing sometimes. I like looking through the photo albums. Yeah, I learned in acting class to get over seeing myself on film and hearing my voice recording, and then loved it. Yeah. It's kind of like once you get over it, then you're good because you can really do stuff because you're not worrying about you. Do you see what I mean? So that's a better thing. So there you go. That's it. That's my parenting tips. If you guys have any questions, you have to ask them now. And if you missed this, you can ask them in the comments and I'll try to answer them. I will, unless they're too long, and then I'll make another video. I was told that C of S wouldn't let you join if you'd done LSD. Did you not admit to them? No. I admitted to them, but that rule came about after I joined the Sea Org. So I'd already joined Scientology and joined the Sea Org, having done LSD. And a lot of people that are in there, the old executives, have done LSD, but it was that rule came out after they had joined. So they let them go. Yep, it frees you up from being self-conscious. Truly, it does, Erica. Thank you. Yeah. Well, anyway, does anyone have any questions about parenting or my life as a parent? They might get you on an e-meter response. I didn't lie, Segan, so it wouldn't be a problem. How long have you parented for? My son is, I think he was born in 77. No. Yeah, he was born in 77. So I think I'm really bad at math, but I think he's 47. Does that sound right? 77, 87, 97, 2007, 2017, 2017. Okay, so that's 40, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So he's 48. Okay. I enjoyed hearing the various things you talk about. No questions from me tonight. Thank you. I am who you say I am. I appreciate that, because I never know if no one asks any questions and they don't say anything. Yeah, 48. Then I'm sort of like, well, I hope this is what you guys. I don't remember who asked me if I would do a thing on parenting, but I hope they were here. Thank you. I am who you say I am. I appreciate that. And Erica, I appreciate that. Nikki, never in. All right. I feel like so many parents these days overparent. Yeah. Well, that can be, I think, I don't know, like this, for me, I really love teaching him how to read and information and, music. And like Glenn said, the younger you get them started, the easier they can learn, because they can learn really fast when they're really, like these parents of brain injured kids had like 2, 3, 4-year-olds folding the laundry and stuff like that, because that was part of their civil code. You're very welcome. I'm definitely interested in checking out that early childhood development information. Yeah, I think it's well worth it. It's really well worth it. I loved hearing anything you talk about. Thank you, Sophie. I love you too. For sure. There needs to be room for error and learning lessons on their own. Oh, for sure. That's why I used to always, my son would be like, that was one thing that I kept him off of, were games, because I felt like games were just its own trap, and not a good trap. So anyway, as a result, I got rid of the games and I stopped. There's another great book called The Read Aloud Handbook by Jim Trelease. And I swear to God, if I had $1 for every person I've told this to, I would have been able to retire years ago. I mean, I have told thousands of people about this, but it's The Read Aloud Handbook by Jim Trelease. And he was a father who was raising 3 daughters. And he said they were just addicted to TV. So he started trying to wean them off of television, and that didn't work. So finally, he just threw out the TV. And he said the kids just went nuts. They were just crying, and all our friends are watching our favorite shows, and you're ruining our lives and this and that. And he just stuck with it, and he stuck with it. And he said it took about 3 months, but all of a sudden, that went away. And the whole family came together playing games and reading together and just doing wonderful things together. And it really was incredible. So I put it in. I said, I didn't throw out our TV, but I said, we're not going to watch TV during the week. It's just on the weekend, and you can watch a few shows, but that's it. I really kept it kind of tight. So my son to this day is a big reader. He's a reader and a writer, both. And you're right. They do over worry. That I think that goes with parenting, though. It's so important to let kids run around and play and learn to fall and get back up. I think more talking with kids is good, though, and that's done more now. Yeah, I think it's really important, especially with the internet. What kind of games did your son get into? Yeah, he just got into Nintendo. That was it. I think that was the only thing that was out back then. But he was really addicted to it. And I would hear all the time, oh, and I'd go, what? And he'd go, I died. And I just got tired of hearing him talk about death. And so I just threw it out. I just said, no, we're done. That's it. You did a great job as a parent. Thank you, especially letting him choose not to be a Scientologist. You can be very proud of your son and of your parenting skills. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Anecdotes. I feel good about it too. It was one of the biggest wins for me in my life because he's in my life, and I love that. Erica, thank you for your hearts. 49ers for life. TV always brought my family together. Yeah, I think it can. It just depends on how people use it. And this guy, their kids were addicted to it, and he was just like, I don't want them to be addicted to it. I want them to be able to read and play games and do stuff together. I feel like as long as kids know they're loved and their parents are their safe place, that's what counts. My trauma isn't from my parents yelling at me or scolding me. It's from being left alone. I'm sorry to hear that. Were your parents in Scientology? And having no one checking in or debriefing. Were they in Scientology? It takes effort to read and write nowadays with all the distractions. I'm putting myself to get back into that zone. Yeah, me too. I've been reading a lot more, and I like it. I like reading. I really do. I love, my mom was really big on reading. So all three of us kids are pretty big on reading, and now Justin is. So that's great. I think my brother's son is too. So that's cool. All right, you guys. Well, I think I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you for your questions and your comments. And unless somebody doesn't have another question or a comment, I'm going to say thank you. And what is today? Today's Monday, right? So I'll see you on Wednesday. All right. All right. Let me see if I can write this. Thank you. See, I don't know how to do hearts, so I'll just do these little happy faces. All right. There you go. All right. Peace out. Make sure to go say hi to Bunker. Thank you. I am who you say I am. Erica. Good night, Sophie. Thank you for being our moderator. Thank you very much. And Moon and Stars, I really apologize for that. I don't know what happened, but I know it was an accident because I know us and none of us would have put you on a timeout. You'd be the last person. Good night, all. Good night. Have a wonderful rest of the night and a good tomorrow. All right. See you Wednesday, hopefully.